When you live in the constant fear of not being able to see tomorrow, you get a different perspective on life. Here are some of the most dangerous places to live on Earth where people live in the constant shadow of fear. Number 16. Sana'a, Yemen. When you look at the architecture of Sana'a, you will definitely feel like there is a lot of history accumulated within these walls. And you will not be wrong either. But the flip side of it is that because of the history, there is a lot of bad blood as well. It is one of the most dangerous places on Earth with constant bombings, assassinations, and random acts of terrorism. In fact, the US Department of State has issued an advisory asking people not to travel here unless absolutely necessary. It is a very politically unstable area with a lot of clashes between the government forces and the protesters, and things do get ugly here pretty fast. Number 15. Cape Town, South Africa. This one probably comes as a surprise to many. Cape Town is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world, and it is easy to assume that it must be safe, otherwise why would so many people go there, right? But it actually has a very high crime rate because of the social and economic problems that exist here. The streets of Cape Town are filled with muggers, and there are some very notorious neighborhoods which people are asked to avoid. In fact, it is generally a good idea not to venture out alone at night when you are in Cape Town. Number 14. Maceió, Brazil. When you get your first look at Maceió in Brazil, you would probably think that it is a very popular tourist town. After all, there are some amazing beaches here. But you should probably stop before you plan a trip to the city because, like it or not, it is also called Murder Central. And why does this beautiful little town have that name? Because there is excessive violence and drug-related crime here. Apparently, there are about 135 murders for every 100,000 citizens here. Add to that the number of violent crimes, and you do have a pretty dangerous city. The slums especially are filled with violent and drug-related crime, and that is where most of the murders take place. But that does not mean that the rest of the city is safe either. Number 13. The Grand Canyon. Another name which will probably surprise you is the Grand Canyon. After all, it is a very popular and busy tourist place. So why on earth is it this dangerous? Well, for starters, the area is prone to accidents. Of course, the majority of the accidents happen off-river and are mostly due to the faults of the people who are either ill-equipped or made some wrong choices. But another reason why the Grand Canyon is so dangerous is because a lot of people actually come here to die. The Grand Canyon is the second most popular suicide spot in the US. Guess people just can't get enough of the view here. Number 12. Danakil Desert, Ethiopia. One of the most bizarre places on Earth is also one of the most dangerous. We are referring to the Danakil Desert in Ethiopia here. One look at the really beautiful but strange environment here should probably tell you that in itself. The temperatures here are extremely high and are not really a good place for survival. Add to that the fact that there is a border conflict between Ethiopia and Eritrea, and there are very frequent kidnappings here, and you would know why the authorities advise you never to travel near the Danakil Desert. Number 11. Naples, Italy. If you ever had to pick a place to live, anywhere which was close to active volcanoes would definitely not feature on the list of best options. And yet, there are 970,000 who choose to do that in Naples, Italy. The city is actually referred to as a death trap because it is surrounded by volcanoes. But the slopes of these volcanoes are actually densely populated, and in case of major eruption, over 1 million lives would be at risk. So if you ever meet someone who lives there, do be a good friend and advise them to move. Number 10. Baghdad, Iraq. Any war-torn country would definitely not be safe, and Baghdad is the capital of one. So obviously all of us know that it is definitely not the safest place to be. Even though it has been a decade since the last war here, violence is pretty much a part and parcel of the lives of people here. Suicide bombings, random gunshots, and roadside explosions are things that happen here every day, and you cannot help but feel sorry for the citizens of the city who have to live in the shadow of death every day. Number 9. Guatemala, Central Africa. While most of the dangerous places that we hear of are so because of the work of man, there are some places where nature unleashes her fury. Guatemala is one such place. It is located between the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea, because of which it experiences a number of very destructive hurricanes. The population of Guatemala is 15.8 million, but they live in constant fear of a natural disaster. In fact, it recently witnessed a hurricane so powerful that it wiped out an entire village from the face face of the Earth. Number 8. North Sentinel Island, India. If you have even the slightest of doubts about any of the dangers of this place, just pay a little heed to the advisory issued by the government which forbids any contact with the island. The reason is that the North Sentinel Islands are home to some tribes who have rejected outside attention staunchly. And it's not just that they are reluctant to learn our language, but are in fact very violent. They have been known to be hostile towards any outside contact and have even been known to kill those who stepped on their island. They are a fierce little people, but they love their island and will do anything to protect it from outside influence. Number 7. Mogadishu, Somalia. Somalia is not a politically stable country, and as such, there is a lot of violence that happens here. But one city ranks above the rest in terms of danger, and that is Mogadishu. The city experiences a lot of militancy, and in fact, one of the militant groups even controls a major portion of the city. And there is a constant power struggle between the different groups, because of which Mogadishu is one of the most dangerous places to live on the planet. Number 6. Istanbul, Turkey. You would think that the capital city of a European country would be a safe place to stay, and while it is not really bothered by the usual problems like a high crime rate or political unrest, it is still affected by earthquakes. In fact, Istanbul is also known as Earthquake Central because there is an almost constant risk of earthquakes here. Geologists found in 2010 that the tensions along the fault line is building and a major earthquake is predicted soon. To make matters worse, 12 million people live right on top of this fault line, so the destruction would be untold. Number 5. Java and Sumatra, Indonesia. The Pacific Ring of Fire is as dangerous as it sounds, and anything located close to it would obviously be a dangerous place to live in. Java and Sumatra actually fall into that category, and natural disasters are extremely common here. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, floods, and tsunamis occur more frequently than anyone would like. In fact, a major tsunami occurs once every 5 years here. That aside, they are pretty awesome looking places, but the threat is ever present. Number 4. Burkina Faso. While many of you may not even be aware of its existence, Burkina Faso is a small, landlocked country located in West Africa. And this small country is one of the most dangerous places to be in the world. There are a lot of terrorist attacks and kidnappings that go on here. And most of these attacks come in public places like hotels and cafes where people like to gather. And the problem is not just from the terrorist groups inside Burkina Faso, as even groups from neighboring countries are active here. Number 3. San Pedro Sula, Honduras. When you earn the name of the murder capital of the world, the only thing that can keep you safe is probably being a big gangster. And sometimes, not even then. San Pedro Sula in Honduras has a very high homicide rate, and is one of the most violent cities in the world. It seems like the trigger limit for the trigger is absolutely minimal here, and one of the reasons for that is the easy availability of firearms. There is a lot of arms traffic and illegal firearms present in San Pedro Sula, and when you have so many guns lying around, some of them are bound to be fired. Number 2. Snake Island, Brazil. Definitely one of the deadliest places on Earth is the Snake Island in Brazil. In fact, it is for a very good reason that the island is not inhabited by humans, and even visitors are not allowed here. There are a lot of snakes here, and you would really not be able to walk for 2 minutes here without encountering one. And while not all of them are poisonous, many of them are. In fact, the Snake Island is also home to the golden lancehead viper, whose venom is capable of melting human flesh. That's right, melting! So stay away! Number 1. Fukushima, Japan. It seems that Japan just has bad luck with nuclear power. It is the only country where nuclear bombs have actually been used in combat when Hiroshima and Nagasaki were destroyed in 1945. And, more recently, in 2011, Fukushima became the site of one of the worst nuclear disasters in history. A power plant exploded here, and that led to a devastating earthquake, which was followed by a tsunami. It shook the city to its very foundations, and it still has to recover from the damage. Even today, years after the incident, very high levels of radiation are recorded here, and it is definitely one of the most dangerous places on Earth. If you ever plan to take an adventurous trip, we do hope that you avoid these places as they pose a very serious and real threat. But if you or anyone you know has ever been to any of these places, please share your experiences in the comments section below. And do remember to subscribe to our channel to get the latest updates on all of our videos.